Hello, the unspoken woman. Welcome to the channel. The rarest people are not the loudest in the room. They're the ones who make the room feel different without saying much at all. Have you ever noticed that the woman who attracts the most attention isn't always the one trying to get it? Sometimes she's the one sitting quietly in the corner, completely unaware that half the room keeps stealing glances in her direction. It's almost unfair. She's not campaigning for attention, yet somehow she's winning the election. Here's something fascinating. Human beings are naturally drawn to what they can't instantly explain. Psychologists have long observed that our brains remember unfinished stories better than completed ones. When someone reveals everything immediately, curiosity disappears. But when someone unfolds naturally over time, our minds keep returning to them, trying to solve the puzzle. That's exactly why the introverted Sigma female leaves such a lasting impression. She isn't attractive because she's trying to be mysterious. She isn't playing hard to get. She isn't following dating advice from someone filming videos in a rented sports car. She simply lives by a different set of rules, and that's what makes her impossible to ignore. The truth is, most people completely misunderstand her. They mistake her silence for shyness, her distance for arrogance, and her independence for coldness. In reality, those very qualities create a presence that many people feel but struggle to explain. In this video, we're uncovering 12 extraordinary reasons why introverted Sigma females captivate people in ways that louder personalities often can't. Some of these insights may completely change how you see attraction, confidence, and influence. By the end, you may realize that the most unforgettable woman in the room isn't the one making the most noise. She's the one who never needed to. Number 1, she doesn't perform a personality. One of the biggest reasons an introverted Sigma female is so attractive is that she never feels like she's putting on a show. In a world where many people carefully adjust their behavior depending on who is watching, she remains remarkably consistent. She isn't one person with friends, another at work, and someone completely different online. The woman you meet on Monday is the same woman you'll meet 6 months later. That kind of consistency is rare, and people notice it, even if they can't explain why. It creates a quiet sense of trust. You never have to wonder which version of her you're going to get, because she isn't chasing approval by changing herself to fit every situation. What's even more fascinating is that she doesn't seem interested in being liked at any cost. If she agrees with you, it's genuine. If she disagrees, she won't pretend otherwise just to avoid making things awkward. That honesty gives her words more weight because people know she isn't speaking to impress anyone. Ironically, the less she tries to manage other people's opinions of her, the more respect she earns. While others spend so much energy maintaining an image, she's busy living a life that doesn't require one. That authenticity has a quiet power. It makes people lower their guard because they sense they're dealing with someone real. In a world overflowing with carefully crafted personalities and polished performances, someone who simply refuses to perform becomes unforgettable. She doesn't capture attention by trying to stand out. She captures it by refusing to become someone she isn't. And that kind of confidence is far more attractive than any act could ever be. Number 2, she leaves people with unfinished curiosity. One of the most irresistible things about an introverted Sigma female is that she never gives people the full story all at once. Not because she's playing games or trying to appear mysterious, but because she's comfortable letting people discover her naturally. In a world where many people reveal their entire lives within a single conversation or a quick scroll through social media, she remains refreshingly different. She doesn't feel the need to explain every opinion, every experience, or every emotion. She speaks when she has something worth saying, and when she's finished, she moves on. There is no desperate attempt to impress anyone or make herself unforgettable. Ironically, That's exactly what makes her unforgettable. People often leave conversations with her feeling like they've only read the first chapter of a fascinating book. They know enough to be interested, but not enough to satisfy their curiosity. That unanswered curiosity lingers. Days later, they still find themselves wondering what she meant, what she's really like, or what she's thinking. The truth is, mystery created on purpose usually feels fake, but mystery that comes from genuine self-control feels authentic. The introverted Sigma female understands that not every thought needs to be spoken, and not every detail needs to be shared. That quiet restraint makes every conversation feel valuable. People don't remember her because she talked the most. They remember her because she left them wanting to know more. In a world where almost everyone is an open book, she's a story that unfolds one meaningful page at a time, and that's the kind of attraction that lasts far longer than a great first impression. Number 3, she makes attention feel earned instead of free. Attention has become one of the easiest things to give away. A quick like, a fast reply, a polite compliment, or endless conversations with people who haven't earned a place in your life have become normal. The introverted Sigma female quietly breaks that pattern. She doesn't hand out her time, focus, or emotional energy just because someone expects it. She gives it with intention. That changes everything. When she truly listens to someone, they can feel it. She isn't checking her phone every few seconds or mentally preparing her next sentence while pretending to listen. She is fully present. Because she offers that level of attention so selectively, it carries real weight. People don't feel tolerated around her. They feel seen. She also understands that attention is one of the most valuable things a person owns, because once it's given away, it can never be taken back. That's why she refuses to waste it on constant drama, empty conversations, or people who only show up when they want something. Ironically, the less freely she gives her attention, the more people appreciate receiving it. It isn't about making others chase her. It's about respecting her own time enough to share it wisely. Number 4, she doesn't rush to fill emotional silence. Silence has become something many people are desperate to escape. The moment a conversation slows down, someone feels the need to speak, crack a joke, explain themselves, or grab their phone. The introverted Sigma female doesn't feel that pressure. She understands that silence isn't something to fear. Sometimes it's where the most honest moments happen. She doesn't mistake constant talking for connection. If there is nothing meaningful to say, she is perfectly comfortable letting the moment breathe. That quiet confidence often catches people off guard because it goes against what they're used to. Instead of creating awkwardness, her calmness often removes it. What's interesting is how people react around her. At first, they may feel uncomfortable. Then something changes. Without realizing it, they begin speaking more honestly. They stop relying on rehearsed stories or small talk and start saying what they actually think. Her silence doesn't push people away. It invites them to drop the mask. This is because she isn't trying to impress anyone with endless conversation. She knows that words lose their value when they're used to cover every empty second. By speaking less, she makes every sentence count. There is also a quiet strength in someone who doesn't panic when nothing is happening. She doesn't need constant noise to feel secure. She doesn't need to dominate the conversation to prove she belongs. That ability is deeply attractive because it signals emotional stability. While others are busy filling every pause with unnecessary words, she allows silence to do what endless talking never can: reveal character. And in those quiet moments, people often discover that her presence says far more than most voices ever could. Number 5, she never looks like she's competing. One of the most striking things about an introverted Sigma female is that she seems completely uninterested in competitions that consume everyone else. While people compete over popularity, appearance, social status, followers, or who gets the most attention, she quietly steps out of the race. Not because she thinks she's above anyone, but because she's never believed her worth depends on beating someone else. That attitude is surprisingly rare. She doesn't feel the need to prove she's the smartest in the room or the most attractive person in the crowd. She doesn't compare herself to every woman she meets or measure her life against someone else's highlight reel. Instead, her focus stays on becoming a better version of herself. Ironically, this makes her stand out even more. People are naturally drawn to someone who isn't constantly seeking validation. There's something refreshing about a woman who celebrates another person's success without secretly feeling threatened by it. Her confidence isn't built on making others feel smaller. It's built on knowing who she is, regardless of who's standing next to her. That also makes her difficult to manipulate. Jealousy, rivalry, and social games lose their power because she simply refuses to participate. She isn't trying to collect trophies in the form of attention or approval. Number 6, she doesn't need constant witnesses. One of the rarest qualities an introverted Sigma female possesses is the ability to enjoy life without needing someone else to confirm that it happened. She doesn't feel an urge to announce every achievement, document every outing, or seek applause for every milestone. If something brings her peace or happiness, that's enough. She doesn't need an audience to make it feel real. That quiet confidence is incredibly attractive because it has become so uncommon. Many people have fallen into the habit of measuring the value of an experience by the amount of attention it receives. A vacation isn't complete until it's posted. A success doesn't feel important until everyone knows about it. The Sigma female simply doesn't live that way. She understands that some of life's best moments lose their magic the moment they become performances. That's why she protects certain memories, victories, and dreams instead of putting them on display for public approval. Ironically, this makes people even more curious about her life. She isn't mysterious because she's hiding something. She's simply living for the experience itself, instead of the reaction it might generate. There's also a deep sense of security behind this mindset. She doesn't rely on compliments to enjoy her appearance or praise to feel proud of her accomplishments. Her satisfaction comes from within, not from the opinions of strangers. That kind of inner contentment is magnetic. It shows that her happiness isn't rented from other people. It belongs to her. And in a world where so many people chase an audience before they chase fulfillment, a woman who can quietly enjoy her own life becomes impossible to overlook. Number 7. She creates emotional gravity. One of the most fascinating things about an introverted Sigma female is that people often end up telling her things they never planned to share. She doesn't demand personal stories or pry into people's lives. Somehow, her calm presence makes others feel safe enough to open up on their own. The reason is simple. She listens without rushing to judge, interrupt, or turn the conversation back to herself. In a world where many people are waiting for their chance to speak, she is one of the few who genuinely pays attention. That alone is enough to make people feel valued. Her presence has a quiet pull to it. Instead of chasing conversations naturally drift toward her. People begin by talking about ordinary things, but before long they're sharing their fears, dreams, disappointments, and experiences. They often walk away surprised by how much they revealed. What's remarkable is that she never forces this connection. She isn't trying to become everyone's confidant or emotional counselor. She simply creates an atmosphere where honesty feels easier than pretending. That emotional gravity makes her unforgettable. People don't just remember what was said around her. They remember how they felt. They remember feeling heard instead of overlooked, understood instead of analyzed, and accepted instead of evaluated. Number 8. She doesn't react on schedule. One of the most powerful qualities of an introverted Sigma female is that she refuses to let other people decide when or how she should react. In a world where instant responses have become the norm, she takes something many people have forgotten how to use: pause. She doesn't rush to answer every message the second it arrives. She doesn't explode when someone insults her or become overly excited because someone flatters her. Instead, she gives herself time to think before responding. That small habit reveals enormous emotional strength. Most people are predictable. Press the right button, and you already know what reaction you'll get. Praise them, and they'll light up. Criticize them, and they'll fall apart. The Sigma female quietly breaks that pattern. She responds based on what she believes is right, not on what someone else is trying to make her feel. That makes her incredibly difficult to manipulate. People who rely on guilt, pressure, drama, or emotional games quickly realize those tactics don't work on her. She doesn't allow temporary emotions to make permanent decisions. What's even more attractive is that her calmness isn't fake. She isn't suppressing her feelings or pretending not to care. She simply understands that emotions are meant to be felt, not obeyed. There is a quiet confidence in someone who doesn't react just because everyone expects them to. Her self-control speaks louder than anger ever could. While others allow the world to pull their emotional strings, she holds the strings herself. That kind of composure is rare, and people instinctively recognize it as a sign of real inner strength, not just quietness. Number 9. She doesn't need to win every conversation. One of the clearest signs of an introverted Sigma female's confidence is that she doesn't treat every conversation like a contest. She has no desire to dominate every discussion, correct every mistake, or prove she's the smartest person in the room. She understands something many people never learn. Winning an argument doesn't always mean winning respect. When she realizes someone isn't interested in understanding but only wants to be right, she doesn't waste her energy. She knows there is a difference between a meaningful conversation and a battle of egos. Instead of fighting to have the final word, she often lets silence end the discussion. To some people that looks like surrender. In reality, it's self-control. She refuses to spend hours defending herself to people who have already made up their minds. She doesn't chase validation through endless explanations, because she knows that people who truly want to understand will ask questions, while people who only want to argue will ignore every answer. This approach gives her an unexpected advantage. While others leave conversations feeling drained, frustrated, or emotionally exhausted, she walks away with her peace intact. She values her inner calm more than the temporary satisfaction of proving someone wrong. Ironically, people often respect her more because of it. There is something incredibly powerful about someone who knows they could keep arguing but chooses not to. It shows that her confidence doesn't depend on defeating others. It comes from being secure enough to let people keep their opinions while she keeps her peace. That quiet restraint speaks louder than the loudest debate ever could. Number 10. She is difficult to emotionally predict. One of the most captivating things about an introverted Sigma female is that people can never quite figure out what will shake her. She doesn't wear every emotion on her face, and she doesn't react the way most people expect. That isn't because she's cold or emotionally distant. It's because she has learned not to let every feeling take control of her actions. Many people unknowingly become easy to read. They smile the moment they receive a compliment, lose their temper over criticism, or become anxious the instant something doesn't go their way. Before long, others know exactly which buttons to push. The Sigma female quietly removes that advantage. She doesn't hand people the instruction manual to her emotions. She celebrates without becoming careless. She feels disappointment without falling apart. She can be hurt without making a public display of it. That emotional balance makes her incredibly difficult to manipulate. What makes this even more attractive is that her stability creates a sense of mystery without trying to. People can't predict whether she'll be impressed, offended, excited, or completely unfazed. As a result, they stop making assumptions and start paying closer attention. There is also a quiet confidence behind this trait. She doesn't need dramatic reactions to prove she has feelings. She understands that strength isn't measured by how loudly you respond, but by how wisely you choose your response. Number 11. She never forces chemistry. One of the most attractive things about an introverted Sigma female is that she never tries to manufacture a connection that isn't naturally there. She doesn't force conversations to keep going, fake excitement to make someone feel comfortable, or pretend there's a special bond simply because it's expected. If the connection is real, she lets it grow at its own pace. If it isn't, she quietly accepts it and moves on. That level of honesty is rare. Many people are so afraid of being alone or disliked that they stretch relationships far beyond what feels genuine. They laugh at jokes they don't find funny, agree with opinions they don't believe, and ignore obvious warning signs just to keep someone's interest. The Sigma female refuses to build relationships on pretense. She understands that forced chemistry always has an expiration date. Eventually, the real personalities show up, and the connection begins to crack. That's why she'd rather experience an awkward silence than fake compatibility. Ironically, this makes her relationships much stronger. The people who stay in her life know they're there because the connection is authentic, not because she was trying to impress them. There's no performance to maintain and no mask waiting to fall off. People are naturally drawn to someone who doesn't chase every opportunity to be liked. Her patience sends a powerful message. She would rather wait for the right people than surround herself with the wrong ones. That quiet confidence is incredibly attractive because it shows she values genuine connection over instant approval. In a world filled with rushed relationships and forced conversations, she proves that the strongest bonds are never manufactured, they're discovered. Number 12. She doesn't treat loneliness like an emergency. One of the most overlooked reasons an introverted Sigma female is so attractive is that she never allows loneliness to make her desperate. She understands the difference between wanting companionship and needing someone to fill an empty space. Because of that, she makes decisions from a place of peace instead of panic. Many people stay in unhealthy friendships, tolerate disrespect, or rush into relationships simply because they hate being alone. They mistake constant company for genuine connection. The Sigma female doesn't. She would rather spend an evening by herself than spend it with people who drain her energy or make her question her worth. That mindset completely changes the way she approaches relationships. She isn't looking for someone to rescue her from boredom or loneliness. She's looking for someone who genuinely adds value to a life she already enjoys. That's a very different standard. People can sense this, even if it's never spoken out loud. They realize she isn't chasing anyone, and she isn't afraid of walking away if something feels wrong. Her presence says, "I'd rather have the right connection than just any connection." Ironically, the less she fears being alone, the more attractive she becomes. Confidence grows naturally when a person knows they can stand on their own without feeling incomplete. Her independence isn't about shutting people out. It's about refusing to let loneliness lower her standards. In a world where many people settle simply to avoid being alone, she proves that solitude can be a place of strength. And that quiet strength makes every relationship she chooses feel intentional, meaningful, and real. Conclusion. The attraction of an introverted Sigma female has very little to do with being louder, more popular, or constantly seeking attention. It comes from something much deeper. She knows who she is, protects her peace, values genuine connections, and refuses to shape her life around other people's expectations. In a world where so many people are trying to stand out, she stands apart simply by remaining authentic. What makes her unforgettable isn't a carefully crafted image or a mysterious act. It's the quiet confidence she carries every day. She doesn't compete for validation, force relationships, or chase approval. Instead, she allows her character, consistency, and emotional strength to speak for themselves. Those qualities may not always attract everyone, but they always leave a lasting impression on the people who truly matter. The greatest lesson isn't about becoming an introverted Sigma female. It's about realizing that real attraction grows from authenticity, self-respect, emotional discipline, and the courage to live life on your own terms. Those are qualities that never go out of style. If you enjoyed this video and found these insights valuable, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss our upcoming videos. If one of these points stood out to you the most, let us know in the comments below. We'd love to hear your thoughts and continue the conversation. Until next time, stay true to yourself, protect your peace, and remember, the strongest presence in any room is often the one that never has to ask for attention.